All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott from Rankin Technical College, just getting myself set up here. And I wanted to tell you, as we start our, or make our transition over to Bootstrap, that there is a W3 Schools tutorial that's on Bootstrap, and I've gone through most of it. It's actually pretty good, but it's Bootstrap 3. And I told you that, that I wanted us to be using Bootstrap 4, but you can look through it if you have an interest. I will tell you that typically the way Bootstrap works, it's not really good as far as if you had a product that worked in Chapter 3, you can't just slip a couple things on there and make it work in 4. All right, a lot of times there's a lot of differences between them. Okay, so there's one. So I'm just going to put these all up here. So this is the W3 Schools Bootstrap 3 tutorial right there. All right, so that's the first one. Secondly, if you're interested, I go out a lot to webcodegeeks.com, and if you go under their CSS link, they have some Bootstrap stuff. Now, these are all examples. There's probably about a dozen examples. In fact, let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 examples where they show you how to build different things. All right? Now, so this is webcodegeeks.com Bootstrap tutorial. To my knowledge, I could be wrong, all right, but to my knowledge, this is also a Bootstrap 3 tutorial. So again, I'm not using that because it's an older version, all right, but there's a couple of really good resources if you don't like the one that I'm going to be going over with you. All right, thirdly, one last resource that you may want to check out. And that is, there is a site called tutorialrepublic.com. They have a Bootstrap tutorial, but again, unfortunately, it is another Bootstrap 3 tutorial. And there that is. All right, so I'll leave those up there literally for about 30 seconds so you can take a look if you have an interest. All right, no interest, don't do anything with them, and that's not a problem as far as I'm concerned. But there they are. All right, a w3schools.com Bootstrap 3 tutorial at the URL listed, a webcodegeeks.com Bootstrap 3 tutorial at the URL listed, and a tutorialrepublic.com Bootstrap 3 tutorial, again, at the URL listed. All of them are well written. I've gone through most of them. All right. Again, the biggest problem with them is they're all Bootstrap 3. All right. So, I'm going out. Again, if I go out, notice I'm right now, again, hopefully you can notice this. I'm right here. Let's blow this up a bit. Okay, and that's as opposed to right here. Why am I showing you all this stuff? Because, again, if you go out to just getbootstrap.com, it brings you to all of the information for Bootstrap version 3.37. I want us to be in version 4 because it's the latest, it's the greatest. Ideally, by the time you go to watch this, it'll be the one that's out there and people will be using. And that's here. All right? So if you go to version 3, you get this. You go to version 4, you get this. And you say, it doesn't really look any different. The logo looks a little more muted. All right? The stuff here is a little more muted. The message there is a little different. But this that's here and this that's here, they do look similar to one another. But again, I'm using version 4. So, one last thing as we start on this, because I like to do this a lot of times when I start something new. I'm going to go out to wikipedia.org and I'm going to type in Bootstrap. All right. And this is a very generically written thing. It's not long, but I'm not going to go through all of it anyway. In fact, let's go Contents Bootstrap 4. There we go. All right, but let's first look. Bootstrap is a front-end framework. What does that mean? When you work on a computer application, most computer applications have both a front end and a back end. The front end is what the user sees. It's HTML, all right, etc. It's CSS, it could be Java, some JavaScript, some jQuery. The back end is typically what regular programmers work on. It could be C#, it could be ASP.NET, it could be PHP, it could be Java server pages, etc. But Bootstrap is a front-end web framework. It's free. If we look at the text here, it's free and it's open source, which means that you can download the source code directly and work with it. Not only that, they always have the latest and greatest version out there. So, they could put a version out there at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and at 2:01, you could download it and use it. It is set up to help you design websites and web applications. Notice it contains HTML and CSS-based templates for typography, forms, buttons, etc., as well as some optional JavaScript extensions. It concerns itself with front-end development only. To my knowledge, there is no Bootstrap on the back end. It says there it's the second most starred project on GitHub with 107,000 stars and 48,000 forks. If we jump up to Bootstrap 4, it's the latest and greatest. All right, notice there on October 29th, 2014, 2.5 years ago, Mark Otto, one of the primary Bootstrap developers, announced that Bootstrap 4 was in development. On September 6th, 2016, they suspended any new work on Bootstrap 3 so they could keep working on Bootstrap 4. This is what I want to show you, though. Notice what it says here. Bootstrap 4 is almost a complete rewrite from Bootstrap 3. The changes include they're changing from the less CSS preprocessor to the Sass CSS preprocessor. Is that a big thing? They're both preprocessors and they work similar to one another, but syntactically they're different. They drop support of IE8 and IE9, basically letting people know, hey, get a real browser or get a browser that's at least with the times. And they're also dropping Apple iOS 6 support. They added Flexbox support and dropped non-Flexbox support. I talked about Flexbox before in CSS. If you want to find out more about Flexbox, go to CSS-tricks.com and search there in their search bar for an introduction to Flexbox. It's another way of doing CSS. They switched from pixels to root EMs. All right, and that's kind of an important thing because pixels, by and large, are fixed in size where M's are not. They increased the global font size. They made it bigger. So the default global size went from 14 to 16 pixels. They dropped using the panel, using the thumbnail, and using the well. They have been replaced by cards. They drop their own built-in glyphicons, but they have a way for you to get glyphicons also. They dropped the pager component, and notice they rewrote almost all of the components, all of the jQuery plugins, and all of the documentation. So it's a complete rewrite. Just how much it'll dovetail and work well with Bootstrap 3, I'm going to guess not well, because I know Bootstrap 3 didn't play well with sites that were written in Bootstrap 2. If you want more on any of this stuff, because you're just getting kind of the highlights, you can see that it's all hyperlinked up the wazoo here. So you can go if you want to know what less and Sass are, etc. All right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this, and we're going to go through all of it, the getting started, etc. We're going to do that in just a minute, but I'm going to put that in here as a part 2. So I'll be back with part 2 of this intro in just a couple minutes.